Right, boys, good morning. This is British Dad 1974, and here we are for an update, I suppose I'll call it that. We have hit an absolute brick wall of this now. I will just give a really quick rundown for those who haven't watched my videos. Basically, I call 911 because my 5-year-old twins were telling me that they were showering with mum's boyfriend, that he was touching their penises in the shower, and basically, you know, don't tell dad, yeah? So, like any sane human being would do, I called the police. You know, I have custody with my children 3 weekends a month. This has been ongoing for ever since the divorce, which is about 4 years. So, of course, all these, my kids have been around this man, and they're telling me, hey, we're showering with dad. 911. Normal, right? That's what any sane human being would do. Now, if you watch my other videos, Absolute Dumpster Fire, you'll get all the extra details of what's exactly going on with this case. Now, in my last video, I explained that my CAC interview, which is the Child Advocacy Centre interview, had been cancelled. Now, this is a forensic interview. This is not a CPS interview. This is a forensic interview. It is done by trained professionals. They are trained to ask questions in such a way that they can get the needed information for the court case. Right? This is very vital. This is very important. Now, again, my CSE interview was cancelled. Sorry, I'm trying to get my head straight at the minute. I'm trying to figure this all out. Right, so I finally yesterday, the CSE interview was actually scheduled for today, but finally yesterday, I do finally get hold of the supervisor from CPS. And I'm like, hey man, why's my interview cancelled? This is really important. And she says, well, I took it upon myself to talk to the mum, you know, my ex-wife, and I just kind of cleared it with her, and we determined between us that it really wasn't anything to worry about, and we're just going to cancel it. Well, here's some very serious questions I would like to pose to you, Miss Supervisor at CPS, who is tasked with protecting my children, and who is tasked with protecting parents who are trying to protect their children. Your own worker came to my home when I first made the 911 call and explained to me in very great detail one very glaring fact. We at CPS, considering the allegations, we are not qualified to make these kinds of interviews. We are not allowed to do those kinds of interviews. We're not trained for those kinds of interviews. CPS purely exists in the capacity to pretty much just kind of poke their head around the door and kind of make sure everything's okay. We're looking for immediate issues. You just want to make sure the house is stable. We want to make sure that you're doing all right, you know, that the home is adequate, you know, all those standard CPS things. And again, we are not qualified. We do not have the training. We do not do these types of interviews. We're not trained. We're not qualified. It is not our position. We are CPS. We are not we're not the police. We're CPS. We're a government body. Okay. This is what a CAC interview is for. This is why they exist. They exist so that people who are like CPS, who are unqualified, don't have the authority or the right or the experience or the qualifications to make those kinds of decisions. Now, remember, this is something that is going to be read in the court of law. And I would also like to reiterate that actually counts 1 and 2 of showering with my children and getting naked with them, touching their penises, have actually been admitted in court as completely 100% factual and true. So we're pretty much just trying to figure out what is all this don't tell dad bullshit. Because quite at the moment, no one's taking this seriously. It seems to be okay. It's being palmed off like, no, it's purely necessary. This man has to shower with children that's not his own, wash their penises because of pure necessity. It's a hygiene issue. There's no reason I needed to know. There's no reason I needed to be asked. Even though I'm their father, I have absolutely zero rights in the saying how my children are raised, absolutely, and I'm not even allowed to say that I don't want grown men showering with my children and touching them. I'm not allowed to say that. It's not my right. First of all, I'd like to know why that's not my right. I'm pretty sure parents need to give consent for things. I didn't sign away my rights. So, here's the thing, and I have a question for the young lady at CPS. Considering your own organisation, or at least an employee from your own organisation, has said we are not qualified to do this, please tell me in your infinite wisdom why you decided to make that call. You're not qualified to make that call. You don't exist to make that call. That's not your call. That's why I organised a CAC interview because it's not your call, because you're not trained to get that information. So, CAC. CPS. You're not qualified to cancel it. Why did you cancel it? Do you know what her answer was? Again, I spoke to their mother when I was over in their county talking to them about this accusation, and she cleared with me and said that it was okay. Do you mean the accused's girlfriend? Do you mean the actual defendant in this case, who would be my ex-wife? She would be the defendant in a case. So you cleared cancelling a forensic interview with my children because you thought, with your experience and lack of qualifications, to overrule the CAC, or at least prevent them from participating, even though you are not qualified to make that decision. And even though counts 1 and 2 have actually been verified and admitted in a court of law. But there's no concern. Yeah, I'm a little confused. I don't really know what's going on with this, to be honest with you. Yeah, you cleared it with the accused's girlfriend, the defendant in the case. Please make this make sense. The only thing I can say is that you made a really bad judgment call. You didn't understand the case. You didn't understand the hearing because you weren't there. Isn't that ironic? And now you have completely thrown a wrench in my entire investigation that has cost me thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. More stress than you can possibly imagine. And for some reason, unqualified personnel are making very important decisions regarding my children, even though in a court of law, most of it has been proven true. The CAC was supposed to prove the rest. That was their job. You prevented that from happening. So right now my children are back home with their mother and the accused, and I can't do a damn thing about it. So yes, I'm going to be taking this further. Still have more hearings to go, because now we seem to be bullshitting not really about the fact that there is this grown man who is not these children's parent, relative. He's not got any of the rights that I have as a parent. I haven't signed any of them over. And I am basically being told by a judge in a court of law, this man showering with your children for 2 entire years, nearly every day, getting naked with them every day, helping them wash their penises very thoroughly every day, making sure he doesn't skip the mechanics of his own so that he can absolutely make sure that they understand how this penis works. For 2 whole years, without my knowledge nor my consent, and I'm an arsehole for being mad about it. I'm an arsehole for not liking it. I'm an arsehole for being upset that I was never told and never asked. And I'm upset that people are going behind my back and literally suppressing this investigation, which is the way I see it. As far as I'm concerned, CPS, you do not know how to do your jobs. You do not know how grooming works. You do not know what voyeurism is. You do not know, in CPS, that statistically, when it comes to these kinds of claims of abuse, or at least sexual conduct, I'm going to put it, or inappropriate conduct, it's usually a family member or the mother's boyfriend. Statistically, that's a well-known fact. This is, ask any counsellor, they'll tell you that. So, yeah, aren't you supposed to protect them from things like this and help people like me? Because we are in the business together of protecting these children. Me, because they are my children, and obviously I'm going to protect them. And you, because you're Child Protective Services. The clue is in your middle fucking name. Protective. I'm going to emphasise that. Not the, I'm going to jump all over your investigation, remove your ability to gather evidence, make a judgment call that I want to close everything, there's nothing there, even though I'm not privy to any of the details of the case. I haven't been at the hearing, and I'm completely unaware that 2 of the counts have been admitted in court. But I will close this. And yeah, I'm trying to figure out what to do next. If anybody's got any ideas, please feel free to reach out. I'm kind of stuck here. And as you can imagine, I really do not like the idea of this man bathing with my children. I think that's reasonable. It's definitely something we're going to talk about. Me and him, I mean, it's a good idea if we got to know each other, you understand? So, yeah. Thoughts? I'm confused as fuck. I don't even know what the bloody hell to say at the minute. But way to go protecting my children, CPS. Something tells me you're not very good at your job. I'm going to finish my coffee and formulate some thoughts. Signing off temporarily.